The other thing is like we're surrounded by these amazing shelves. I just want to know. I mean, I talk about Oob Cubes. The shelves and stuff have been so hard for me to figure out. Transporting, it's heavy. It's a lot, right? Oh, yeah. We love it. We're never going to stop collecting, but tell me how you do it.
Something that is really cool about these shelves, though, is we have shelves from every era. And these are actually from record stores. Yeah. These weren't made like the ones in the front here. Those are actually from the 80s. Those over there are from the 70s. We have that one there, which is from the 90s.
Which I hate that band.
Yeah, it's a terrible band.
It's a terrible
band.
But
you can obviously tell they didn't care much about records in the 90s.
Right.
Vintage. Yeah. They're still here. They're doing the job.
And those those Karma ones, those 3 along the back there, those are the Karma ones. Yeah. What time period would those been from?
80s.
80s?
Yeah.
You sort of inherited them from
every chance I've ever got, I bought them.
Yeah. Now, before we opened our first store, we had these in his house. And we had our personal collection stored in these white ones. So that the 4 that here are, no, there's 5. And then as we needed them for the shop, we had to transfer all of ours into like cubes at home. Now
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, we have ours in cubes. And although they're more sleek and stuff, there's something about flipping.
There is.
Flipping is also not the most space safe.
It's not.
Or anything like that. So there's like pros and cons to all of those now. There's some really nice plans on Etsy that you can build your own cabinet.
I love Etsy.
Where you like pull the drawer out and can flip, but they push in. And one of our locals actually built them and he kind of tweaked them.
Pretty amazing.
And they're in his, and then he put the lights are kind of like those
the strip lights?
LED strips in the front. It's glorious. It's so glorious. Like I've seen anytime. He's like not nice. Even like Mr. Building all stuff all the time. So he just went by the plans. Make your own shelf plans or whatever, Google type things. And the Etsy listing has come up for years now. So it's pretty consistent one that I've seen.
Yeah.
And that's what Mark used. But
yeah, if you ever get a chance to have like old bins and just use old bins or make modern bins, there is something about flipping. You will spend a lot more time listening to records. You'll spend a lot more time rearranging your records. You'll put certain ones in the front.
Oh, yeah, we always did that. Whenever I would take a picture on Facebook of like, you know, what we're listening to, you could always tell in the background, like I put my favorite ones in these bins. And then people would be like, what store are you at? And I'm like, that's my living room. Like, I don't know, you know. But I mean, I knew. Like, yeah, obviously I knew.
What do you think about transporting too?
As far as like, if you're moving.
Yeah.
Now, say you're moving, we always tell our locals, if you're moving and you need boxes to like pack your records back and forth, come to your local record store. We always have like boxes that our records are shipped to us in.
They're designed for it.
Deckers have like supports in between them. So, but also U-Haul boxes are fine, you know.
Trust me, your local record store will be more than happy to give you some of their cards.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. One good thing to check with the U-Haul boxes. Now, depending on how long term, there's also the, what is it, the brand, BCW?
So.
They have different sizes. Yeah, Amazon has them. And but
Bags
like
Unlimited.
Bags Unlimited. Okay. But I think when you go to order from Bags Unlimited, like, you know, you get charged freight. I think
they're super pricey already.
How much is that? Like in comparison, like what's the best value for people?
Well, best value would be the U-Haul boxes or free boxes from your record store.
Yeah.
But like the U-Haul boxes.
You can get those crates for what are they, $5, $6?
Well, the crates at Walmart though, that you can't stack them. That's another thing. But those plastic crates are up to $6 or $7 now.
Right.
Last I checked. But you can buy plastic crates at Walmart. But yeah, Walmart does have boxes. So you can go to U-Haul and get like their, I think they're like the perfect size for records. They're like, I think they're their boxes. Either way, whatever.
That sounds right.
And I think that those would be good enough for not like years and years stacked in, you know, on top of each other.
Of course.
Like, if you were going to say, you know, need to put them in storage for maybe 6 months, maybe it'll be fine. Because when we first switched...
We've had to do that before.
Yeah, we couldn't afford to buy all new cubes for our entire collection all at once. And so we had to like have some of our collection boxed for periods of time. And this is before we were ordering the volume of new that we... So we didn't just have our records, our boxes, you know, and all that, shipping boxes. So I think we just would go to Walmart. We had the U-Haul boxes, and you could stack them in that. So
what about like for stores? Because there's some stores out there. What do you recommend to give stores some options as they're designing their layout?
Your layout's leagues ahead of people who don't, people starting.
It goes to show it will take time no matter what. But what are some like secret hacks or tips or tricks you found that just work?
Well, so I would have to say that we're very lucky.
Give people something to flip through.
Yeah, I think we're very lucky to have the tiered flip bins, and all of our bins that we've bought like an opportunity. We've had like the one Karma Records in Indianapolis was like stopping to carry vinyl, so one guy local to there bought them, then resold them, and we were able to buy like those 3 at once, but we had to like rent a truck and go all the way up to Indy. We had like one bin that we don't like, but we got for free from Coconuts because they were like redesigning their layout.
And it still works. You're still using it.
Works. I mean, there is a generic style of design that I've seen at some record stores. The one thing I would recommend, even if it's harder to find, you can find plans for these tiered kind of bins, and they're worth it to do the tiered kind because one, each little cubby doesn't have so much pressure. And we have like in our $4 bin, that was a free bin given to us, and it was from another store that's no longer in town. And again, we were lucky. They're real long, and it's just one row. They're not tiered. So when you get halfway, too much weight all on one side. So I would say put a support in between there. But there's all kinds of plans on that. You can build your own shelves.
Nothing worse than all the records falling over on you while you're trying to flip.
My goodness.
That's just no fun. The other thing I would say is, you really want to alphabetize and even separate some genres because it makes stuff easier and people don't have to spend their whole day. Sometimes it's fun just to sort through random boxes, and that's like when you're out on the weekend and other times you're here to pick up a record and you want to grab it, you don't want to go through the vendors.
I guess that's what I was going to ask too about the organization of the records themselves. Are you going through those manually? Are you plugging them in Discogs and then sorting by alphabet? Is there any tricks to getting that done? I alphabetize stuff, right? But like so many times I end up pulling them all out and then having to resort them because I'm in little crates. So is there a way to quickly sort large quantity? Is there any way? Is there any secret?
Just alphabetize, and then just the old school way. Like any record store you would have went into would do it like A to Z. And if it's an artist, it's by a last name. But if it's an artist like John Spencer and the Blues Explosion, it would be under J, even though the last name is in there.
Bob Seger in the Silver Bullet Band technically is supposed to be under B.
Our Bob Seger system would be under B. But now when an artist has multiple things like that, sometimes we will put them all together. Like John Cougar Mellencamp.
That's what I do.
We just put on a Mellencamp, So it's one of those things where it's like, we'll put stuff where we know that people are going to look for. So whatever Bob Seger it is, we know people are going to look for Bob Seger in the S's because Seger. So